Life doesn't respect you right now. And deep down, you know it. You can feel it in the way opportunities pass you by, in the way people don't take you seriously, in the way your own goals mock you from a distance you can never seem to close. Life is looking at you and seeing someone who takes the easy path, someone who avoids discomfort, someone who negotiates with their own commitments. And life respects none of that. But here's what most people never understand. Respect is not given. It's earned. And it's earned through one specific mechanism: doing hard things consistently when no one is watching and no one is forcing you. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, you're training life to disrespect you. Every time you quit when things get difficult, you're proving to the universe that you're not serious. Every time you take the shortcut, you're cementing your position as someone who doesn't deserve better circumstances. The hard truth is this: your life right now is a perfect reflection of your tolerance for difficulty. If your life is comfortable and mediocre, it's because that's the level of challenge you're willing to accept. If your life is chaotic and struggling, it's because you haven't built the discipline to handle harder things in a controlled way. The quality of your life will never exceed your willingness to do difficult things daily. Never. Right now, you're doing the minimum. You're showing up when it's convenient. You're working hard when you feel motivated. You're committed when conditions are right. But life doesn't respect minimum effort. Life doesn't respect conditional commitment. Life doesn't respect people who only perform when circumstances are perfect. Life respects the person who shows up when they don't feel like it, who does a hard thing when the easy thing is available, who keeps their word to themselves when no one else would know if they broke it. The people you admire, the ones who seem to have life working for them instead of against them, they're not lucky. They're not more talented. They're not blessed with better circumstances. They've just built a relationship with difficulty that you haven't. They've learned to do hard things daily until those hard things became their normal, until their baseline level of discipline was higher than your peak effort. And life noticed. Life respects them. Life gives them opportunities, not because they deserve it through birthright, but because they've earned it through daily proof of their capability. I'm going to show you exactly how to build that relationship with difficulty, how to transform from someone who avoids hard things into someone who seeks them out, how to develop the daily discipline that makes life take you seriously, how to stack so many difficult actions that your character becomes undeniable and your results become inevitable. This is not about motivation. This is not about inspiration. This is about the systematic development of the kind of discipline that makes life respect you. Are you ready to stop being someone life overlooks? Are you ready to understand that respect is earned through difficulty, not wished into existence through affirmations? Are you ready to do the hard things that most people won't do so you can have the life most people won't have? Then let's begin. Let's build you into someone that life has no choice but to respect. Let's make difficulty your competitive advantage. Chapter 1. Easy choices, hard life. Hard choices, easy life. You're making your life harder by trying to make it easier. Every time you choose a comfortable option, you're building a future that's more difficult. Every time you avoid the hard conversation, you're creating a harder relationship down the road. Every time you skip the workout, you're building a harder body to live in. Every time you choose the junk food, you're creating harder health problems to manage. The easy choice right now is a hard life later. Always. But most people don't see this connection. They see each choice in isolation. They think skipping one workout won't matter, or one difficult conversation can wait, or one unhealthy meal isn't a big deal. And they're right. One choice doesn't matter. But you're not making one choice. You're making the same choice over and over again, day after day, until that choice becomes your character. Until that character becomes your destiny. The hard choice right now is the easy life later. When you do the workout, even though you're tired, you're building a body that makes life easier. When you have the difficult conversation, even though it's uncomfortable, you're building relationships that are easier to maintain. When you choose a healthy food, even though you're craving comfort, you're building health that makes every other aspect of life easier. The hard choice in the moment compounds into an easier existence over time. This is a fundamental pattern that separates people who struggle from people who thrive. People who struggle are optimizing for immediate comfort. They make their present easier by choosing the path of least resistance. And they wake up years later wondering why everything is so hard, why they're out of shape, broke, in toxic relationships, stuck in careers they hate, stressed about money, unable to pursue opportunities. They made thousands of easy choices that accumulated into a hard life. People who thrive are optimizing for future ease. They make their present harder by choosing the path of greater resistance. They do the difficult things now, consistently, even when it sucks. And they wake up years later in a completely different reality. They're in shape, financially stable, in healthy relationships, building careers they care about, able to handle stress, positioned to seize opportunities. They made thousands of hard choices that accumulated into an easy life. The tragic part is that life is hard either way. You don't get to choose whether life will be difficult. You only get to choose what kind of difficult it will be. Will it be the difficulty of discipline or the difficulty of regret? Will it be the difficulty of doing hard things now or the difficulty of living with the consequences of not doing them later? Both paths are hard, but one leads up and one leads down. Think about the areas of your life that are currently difficult. Where are you struggling? Where you feel stuck? Now trace that difficulty back to the easy choices you made consistently. If your health is difficult, it's because you consistently chose easy food and easy rest over hard nutrition and hard exercise. If your finances are difficult, it's because you consistently chose easy spending and easy avoidance over hard saving and hard skill development. If your relationships are difficult, it's because you consistently chose easy conflict avoidance and easy surface level connection over hard honesty and hard vulnerability. Your current hard life is a compound interest of past easy choices, and your future easy life will be the compound interest of present hard choices. This is the most important financial principle applied to your entire existence. Invest now in difficulty. Earn returns later in ease. Spend now on comfort. Pay interest later in struggle. You need to flip your default setting. Right now, when faced with choice, you default to easy. Your brain automatically selects the option that requires less effort, less discomfort, less courage. You have to consciously override that default to choose hard. This is exhausting. This is why you fail to be consistent. You're fighting your own wiring every single time. But what if hard became your default? What if, when faced with a choice, you automatically selected the more difficult option? What if you had to consciously override your system to choose easy? This is what happens when you do hard things daily for long enough. The hard choice becomes your new baseline. It's no longer a fight. It's just what you do. And when hard is your default, easy life is your result. Start making this shift today. For every decision you face, pause and identify which option is harder, which requires more discipline, more courage, more discomfort. Then choose that one. Not because you want to, not because you feel like it, but because you understand the equation. Hard choices now equal easy life later. Easy choices now equal hard life later. This applies to everything. The hard choice is to get up when your alarm goes off instead of hitting snooze. The hard choice is to do the deep work instead of checking social media. The hard choice is to cook a healthy meal instead of ordering takeout. The hard choice is to go to bed on time instead of staying up watching garbage. The hard choice is to have the difficult conversation instead of letting resentment build. The hard choice is to save money instead of buying a thing you don't need. None of these individual choices seem significant, but do them daily for a year and compare yourself to someone who made the easy choices. The difference won't be subtle. It will be profound. You'll be living in a different reality, not because you had more resources or better luck, because you made harder choices consistently enough that they compounded into a fundamentally easier existence. Life is watching your choices. Every choice is a vote for the kind of person you're becoming and the kind of life you're building. Right now, you're voting for easy present, hard future. Start voting for a hard present, easy future. Do it enough times and life will notice. Life will respect the pattern. Life will start giving you the easier path because you've proven you can handle the harder one. The people life respects didn't get there by accident. They got there by understanding this equation and living it daily. They made the hard choice So many times that hard became their identity. And when hard is your identity, easy is your reality. Choose hard. Every day. Watch your life transform from something that's happening to you into something you're consciously building through difficult decisions. Chapter 2. Discipline is doing what needs to be done when you don't want to do it. You think discipline is about motivation, about feeling energized and ready to take action, about having the right mindset and the perfect conditions. But that's not discipline. That's just enthusiasm. And enthusiasm fades the moment things get uncomfortable. Real discipline is doing what needs to be done regardless of how you feel, especially when you don't feel like it, especially when every part of you is screaming to do anything else. Discipline is the ability to override your immediate feelings in service of your long-term commitments. It's the gap between I don't want to and I'm doing it anyway. That gap is where all your growth lies. That gap is where your character is formed. That gap is where life starts to respect you. Because most people can't cross that gap. Most people are controlled entirely by how they feel in the moment. When you feel motivated, everyone can work hard. When you feel energized, everyone can exercise. When you feel inspired, everyone can create. But what do you do when you don't feel any of those things? What do you do when you're tired and unmotivated and uninspired? That's when discipline shows up. That's when the people life respects separate from the people life ignores. The problem is you're waiting to feel like doing the thing before you do the thing. You're waiting for motivation to strike, for energy to appear, for conditions to be right. But motivation is a result of action, not a prerequisite for it. You don't feel like doing it, then do it, then feel accomplished. You do it, then the feeling of accomplishment creates motivation for next time. You have the order backwards. Discipline means you do it first, before you feel like it. Before you're ready, before conditions are perfect. You do the hard thing while feeling completely unmotivated and tired and resistant. And you do it anyway, not because you're superhuman, but because you've decided that your commitment to your goals is more important than your comfort in the moment. This is the skill that changes everything. The ability to take action independently of your emotional state. To have your behavior driven by your decisions rather than your feelings. To be someone whose word to themselves actually means something because they honor it regardless of how they feel. Right now, your behavior is being dictated by your feelings. You work out when you feel energized. You eat healthy when you feel motivated. You work on your goals when you feel inspired. And what happens when you don't feel those things? Nothing. You do nothing. And then you wonder why your results are inconsistent. It's because your effort is inconsistent. And your effort is inconsistent because it's tied to feelings that are inherently inconsistent. Feelings change based on sleep, stress, blood sugar, hormones, and 1,000 other variables you can't control. If your discipline is dependent on feeling good, you'll never be consistent. You'll have great weeks followed by terrible weeks. You'll make progress and lose it. You'll start strong, then fade. This is a pattern of people whose discipline is tied to motivation. But when you develop the ability to act independently of your feelings, everything changes. You work out regardless of energy level. You eat healthy regardless of cravings. You work on your goals regardless of inspiration. Your behavior becomes predictable. Your results become consistent. And consistency is what creates the kind of momentum that life respects. The way to build this discipline is through repetition in the face of resistance. Every time you feel the resistance, the tiredness, the lack of motivation, the desire to do anything else, and you do the hard thing anyway, you're strengthening the discipline muscle. You're teaching your brain that feelings don't control behavior, that you're capable of overriding the immediate impulse in favor of the important commitment. This is uncomfortable. Your brain will protest. It will make you feel like you're fighting yourself. It will turn up the volume on the resistance, trying to get you to comply with the feeling rather than the commitment. But if you can push through that resistance enough times, something shifts. The resistance doesn't disappear, but your relationship to it changes. You recognize it as just a feeling, not a command. You can feel it and do the opposite simultaneously. Start with one non-negotiable daily action, something you commit to doing every single day regardless of how you feel. Maybe it's a 20-minute workout. Maybe it's 30 minutes of focused work on your most important project. Maybe it's a healthy breakfast. Whatever it is, make it non-negotiable. This means you do it on days when you feel great and on days when you feel terrible. On days when you're motivated and on days when you're not. On days when it's convenient and on days when it's not. Track this daily action. Put an X on a calendar every day you complete it. Watch the chain of XS grow. This visual representation of your discipline is powerful. It shows you that you're capable of consistency, that you can honor commitments to yourself, that you're becoming someone whose behavior isn't controlled by feelings. You'll have days when you don't want to do it so badly that it feels physically painful to force yourself. Do it anyway. Those are the most important days. Those are the days where you're building real discipline. Those are the days where life is watching to see if you're serious. Easy days don't build discipline. Hard days do. Days when you absolutely don't want to do it, but you do it anyway. Those are the days that transform you. After a few weeks of this, you'll notice something interesting. The action becomes less dependent on motivation. It becomes automatic. It's just what you do at that time. You've moved it from a category of things I do when I feel like it to things I just do. This is a transition from motivation dependent to discipline driven. And it's a transition that makes everything else possible. Once you've built one non-negotiable habit, add another, then another. Slowly, you're building a life where your most important actions happen regardless of your emotional state, where your behavior is determined by your values and commitments rather than your momentary feelings. This is a foundation of a life that deserves respect. Life doesn't respect people who only show up when they feel like it. Life respects people who show up, especially when they don't feel like it, who do the hard thing when the easy thing is screaming to be chosen, who honor their word to themselves when no one else would know if they broke it. Be that person. Build that discipline. Watch life start to respect you for it. Chapter 3. The compound effect of daily difficulty. You drastically underestimate what small difficult actions can create over time. You're looking for the big breakthrough, the dramatic transformation, the moment where everything suddenly clicks. But that's not how lasting change happens. Lasting change happens through the compound effect of doing slightly difficult things every single day until those small difficulties become massive capabilities. One workout doesn't transform your body, but a workout every day for a year transforms everything. One difficult conversation doesn't fix a relationship, but the habit of addressing issues immediately instead of letting them fester transforms a relationship over time. 1 hour of focused work doesn't complete a massive project, but 1 hour every day for 6 months completes what seemed impossible. The problem is you can't see the compound effect while it's happening. You do the hard thing today, and you don't look any different. You do it again tomorrow, and you still don't see results. You do it for a week, a month, and the changes are so gradual that you start to doubt whether it's working. This is where most people quit, right before the compound effect becomes visible. But compound interest works in shadows. It accumulates slowly at first, almost imperceptibly. Then it reaches a tipping point where the growth becomes exponential. Financial compound interest works this way. Saving small amounts early doesn't feel significant, but over decades, it becomes wealth. The same principle applies to every area of your life. When you do hard things daily, you're making deposits in your capability account. Each difficult action is a small deposit. It doesn't feel like much at the time, but those deposits compound. They build on each other. They create momentum. And eventually, you reach a point where you're capable of things that would have been impossible when you started. Think about someone learning a language. The first day, they learn 10 words. They feel stupid. They can barely string together a sentence. Day 10, they still can't really communicate. Day 30, they're still struggling. But they keep doing the hard thing, studying daily even when progress feels invisible. Day 365, they're conversational. Day 730, they're fluent. The compound effect of daily difficulty transformed their capability completely. Or someone building a business. The first day, they make 0 sales. The first month, they barely cover expenses. The first year, they're questioning whether it will ever work. But they keep doing the hard things, showing up, creating, learning, adapting. Year 2, things start to click. Year 3, they're profitable. Year 5, they've built something sustainable. The compound effect of daily difficulty created what didn't exist before. You need to trust the compound effect even when you can't see it yet. You need to keep making deposits even when your account balance looks the same. Because underneath the surface, the accumulation is happening. The neural pathways are forming. The skills are developing. The character is building. The momentum is gathering. You just can't see it yet. This requires a different relationship with time than most people have. Most people want immediate results. They want to see progress today from the work they did today. But compound effects don't work that way. The work you do today might not show results for months. But when it does show results, those results will be far greater than what any single day of effort could have produced. The key is to focus on the consistency of the input, not the visibility of the output. Your job is to do the hard thing daily. The compound effects job is to turn that consistency into results. You can't force the timeline. You can only control the inputs. So control what you can control, showing up and doing the difficult thing regardless of whether you're seeing results yet. This also means you need to measure your success differently. Don't measure success by outcomes you can't fully control. Measure success by whether you did the hard thing today. Did you show up? Did you put in the work? Did you honor your commitment regardless of how you felt? If yes, today was successful. String together enough successful days, and the outcomes take care of themselves. Track your consistency, not your results. Keep a log of whether you did your hard thing each day. Watch the streak build. This is your real progress. The results, the weight loss, the business growth, the skill development, the relationship improvement, those are lagging indicators. They show up later. But your consistency is the leading indicator. It predicts what's coming even when you can't see it yet. You also need to resist the urge to change strategies too quickly. When you don't see immediate results, your brain will tell you that your approach isn't working, that you need to try something different. But often, you don't need a different approach. You just need to give the current approach enough time to compound. Consistency with a decent strategy beats strategy hopping with perfect strategies. The compound effect requires patience. Real patience. Not the fake patience of, I'll give this 2 weeks. But the real patience of, I'll do this daily for as long as it takes because I know compound effects work even when I can't see them yet. This patience is rare, which is why people who have it stand out, which is why life respects them. Start thinking in terms of systems, not events. An event is one workout. A system is working out daily. An event is one difficult conversation. A system is addressing issues immediately as a habit. An event is one day of healthy eating. A system is eating healthy as your default. Systems compound. Events don't. Build systems that require you to do slightly difficult things every day. Then trust those systems to compound into capabilities and results that seem impossible right now. Don't judge the system by day 1 or day 30. Judge it by day 365 and beyond. That's where the magic of compound difficulty lies. The person you want to become is not created in a day. They're created through the accumulation of thousands of difficult decisions made daily over years. The life you want to live is not built in a moment. It's built through the compound effect of doing hard things when it would be easier to do easy things. Trust the process. Do the hard thing. Let it compound. Watch life start to respect the person you're becoming through that accumulation. Chapter 4. Discomfort is information, not a stop sign. You treat discomfort like it's telling you to stop. You feel the burn in your muscles and you interpret as, this is bad, I should quit. You feel the awkwardness of a difficult conversation and you interpret as, this is dangerous, I should avoid. You feel the frustration of learning something new and you interpret as, this isn't for me, I should give up. But you're reading the signals wrong. Discomfort is not a stop sign. It's information. And most of the time, that information is telling you that you're exactly where you need to be. Physical discomfort during exercise means your muscles are being challenged enough to adapt and grow. The burn is not damage. It's a signal that adaptation is happening. If you stop when you feel the burn, you never get stronger. You stay exactly as strong as you are. The discomfort is the price of admission for growth. It's not telling you to stop. It's telling you that growth is happening right now. Emotional discomfort during difficult conversations means you're addressing something that matters. The awkwardness is not a sign that you should avoid the conversation. It's a sign that the conversation is important enough to make you vulnerable. If you only have comfortable conversations, you only have surface-level relationships. The discomfort is the price of admission for depth. It's not telling you to avoid. It's telling you that real connection happens in uncomfortable territory. Mental discomfort when learning means you're at the edge of your current capabilities. The frustration is not a sign that you're not capable of learning this. It's a sign that your brain is being challenged to form new neural pathways. If you only do what's already easy, you never expand your capabilities. The discomfort is the price of admission for new skills. It's not telling you to give up. It's telling you that learning is active right now. But you've been trained to avoid discomfort. You've been taught that comfort is the goal. That if something feels uncomfortable, that's a problem to be solved. So you remove yourself from uncomfortable situations as quickly as possible. You quit the workout when it burns. You avoid the difficult conversation. You give up on learning when it's frustrating. And in doing so, you eliminate all the opportunities for growth. Life only gives you what you're capable of handling. And your capability is directly proportional to your tolerance for discomfort. If you can only tolerate low levels of discomfort, life keeps you in low-stakes, low-reward situations. But if you can tolerate high levels of discomfort without quitting, life gives you access to high-stakes, high-reward situations. Life respects people who can sit in discomfort without running away. You need to completely reframe your relationship with discomfort. Instead of treating it as something to be eliminated, treat it as data. When you feel uncomfortable, get curious. What is this discomfort telling me? Is this the discomfort of genuine harm that I should avoid? Or is this the discomfort of growth that I should lean into? Genuine harm discomfort is things like sharp pain that indicates injury, exhaustion that indicates you're truly depleted and need rest, anxiety that indicates real danger. These are legitimate signals that deserve attention and appropriate response. But these make up maybe 5% of the discomfort you feel. The other 95% is growth discomfort, the burn of exercise, the awkwardness of honesty, the frustration of learning, the fear of risk, the boredom of repetition, the loneliness of discipline. None of these are harm signals. They're growth signals. They're telling you that you're doing something your current self isn't accustomed to, which means you're becoming a new self. When you feel growth discomfort, the correct response is not to stop. It's to acknowledge it and continue. I notice this is uncomfortable. This discomfort is telling me I'm growing. I'm going to sit with this discomfort and keep going. This acknowledgement without cessation is a practice that builds your tolerance for difficulty. Think of discomfort tolerance like a container. Right now, your container is small. It can only hold a little discomfort before it overflows and you quit. But every time you sit with discomfort without quitting, you expand container. You increase your capacity. Eventually, you can hold levels of discomfort that would have destroyed you before. And that expanded capacity is what allows you to do harder things, which is what makes life respect you. Start practicing this deliberately. Do something uncomfortable on purpose daily. Take a cold shower. Do a workout that pushes you past your comfort zone. Have a conversation that makes you nervous. Work on a task past the point where you want to quit. The specific activity matters less than the practice of sitting with discomfort. During the discomfort, practice active observation. Notice where you feel it in your body. Notice the thoughts that arise. Notice the urge to quit. But don't act on that urge. Just observe it. I'm feeling the urge to stop. That's interesting. I'm going to keep going anyway. This creates distance between the feeling and your behavior. The feeling becomes something you experience rather than something that controls you. You'll find that if you sit with discomfort without reacting to it, the intensity peaks and then starts to decrease. This is crucial information. Discomfort is not constant. It's a wave. It rises, peaks, and falls. But most people quit during the rise, so they never learn that it falls on its own. They think the discomfort will keep increasing forever, but it won't. If you just stay with it, it will pass. This knowledge that discomfort is temporary and survivable is what gives you power over it. You're no longer afraid of it. You know you can handle it. You've proven it to yourself dozens or hundreds of times. So when hard things come up, you don't automatically avoid them because they'll be uncomfortable. You know discomfort is just part of the process, not a reason to stop. The people life respects have high discomfort tolerance. They can sit in difficult emotions without numbing. They can push through physical challenge without quitting. They can persist through frustration without giving up. They can handle awkwardness without avoiding. This tolerance is their superpower. It allows them to do things that others can't. And doing things others can't is what makes life give them things others don't have. Stop treating discomfort as a stop sign. Start treating it as information that you're growing. Lean into it. Build your tolerance for it. Prove to yourself that you can handle more than you thought. Watch your capability expand. Watch your results improve. Watch life start to respect someone who can handle difficulty without running away. Chapter 5. Build your identity as someone who does hard things. You will never consistently do things that contradict your identity. If you see yourself as someone who is lazy, you will find it nearly impossible to maintain discipline. If you see yourself as someone who quits when things get hard, you will quit when things get hard. If you see yourself as someone who can't handle discomfort, you won't handle discomfort. Your behavior will always conform to your identity eventually, which means if you want to do hard things consistently, you need to build an identity as someone who does hard things. Right now, your identity is probably built on your past behavior. You've quit things before, so you think, I'm a quitter. You avoided difficult conversations before, so you think, I'm conflict averse. You've chosen comfort over challenge before, so you think, I'm just not disciplined. But these identities are not fixed. They're just stories you're telling yourself based on past patterns. And stories can be rewritten. Your identity is not who you've been. It's who you're becoming through your current actions. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. Every hard thing you do is a vote for, I am someone who does hard things. Every time you quit, it's a vote for, I am someone who quits. You're constantly voting, and the majority wins. If you want to become someone who does hard things, you need to start voting for that identity more than you vote against it. This doesn't mean you have to be perfect. This doesn't mean one slip-up ruins everything. This means that more often than not, you choose a difficult option. You accumulate more evidence of the person you want to be than evidence of the person you used to be. This is how identity change actually works. Not through affirmations or visualization, though those can help, but through repeated action that generates evidence. You say you're a runner, but do you run? You say you're disciplined, but do you do the hard thing when you don't feel like it? You say you're someone who finishes things, but do you finish things? Your identity is made of proof, not wishes. Start small. Pick one difficult thing that you can do daily. Something that takes 10 to 20 minutes. Maybe it's a morning workout. Maybe it's cold showers. Maybe it's 20 minutes of focused work on your most important project. The specific action matters less than the consistency. Your goal is to do this thing every single day without exception for at least 30 days. Every time you do it, you're casting a vote for your new identity. I am someone who works out even when tired. I am someone who does uncomfortable things without hesitation. I am someone who shows up for their commitments. Each successful completion is evidence, and evidence is what builds unshakable identity. After 30 days of perfect consistency, you'll notice a shift. You'll start to think of yourself differently, not because you decided to think differently, but because you have proof. You have 30 days of evidence that you're someone who does this hard thing. That's not a wish. That's a fact. And facts change identity more powerfully than affirmations ever could. Then you can add a second difficult daily action. Now you're building evidence in multiple domains. You're someone who works out and does cold showers, or someone who exercises and does focused work. With each additional difficult action you maintain consistently, your identity as someone who does hard things becomes more robust, more undeniable, more real. You also need to protect this identity by never violating it publicly. If you tell people I work out every day and then skip a workout, you've damaged your identity both in their eyes and in your own. But if you maintain it, if you honor that commitment publicly, you're reinforcing it. Social pressure becomes an ally instead of an enemy. This is also why it's powerful to think in terms of identity when you're tempted to skip. When you don't feel like doing your hard thing, instead of asking, do I feel like doing this? Ask, am I the kind of person who does this? If your answer is, yes, I am someone who does this, then the action follows naturally. You're not forcing yourself. You're simply acting in alignment with who you are. The identity shift also changes how you interpret difficulty. When you see yourself as someone who avoids hard things, difficulty is a threat. It's evidence that you should quit. But when you see yourself as someone who does hard things, difficulty is just part of the process. It's expected. It doesn't threaten your identity. It confirms it. Of course, this is hard. I'm someone who does hard things. Hard is what I do. Watch your self-talk. Notice when you say things like, I'm just not good at, or I've never been able to, or I'm the kind of person who... These statements are identity claims, and they're often limiting you. Start reframing them. I haven't developed that skill yet, but I'm working on it. I've struggled with this before, but I'm becoming someone who handles it. I'm the kind of person who keeps showing up despite difficulty. Your internal narrative matters. You're telling yourself a story about who you are all day long. Make sure that story includes evidence of difficulty overcome. Remind yourself of the hard things you've done, the times you didn't quit, the moments you chose challenge over comfort. These are the building blocks of your new identity. Over time, doing hard things becomes part of who you are at a core level. It's no longer something you have to think about or force. It's just what you do because it's who you are. People will say, you're so disciplined. And you won't even relate to that because discipline doesn't feel like effort anymore. It's just your identity expressing itself through behavior. This is a level where life really respects you. When doing hard things is so embedded in your identity that it's as natural as breathing. When you don't need motivation or willpower because you're simply being yourself. And yourself is someone who shows up, does the difficult work, and doesn't quit when it gets uncomfortable. Build that identity. One hard action at a time. One vote at a time. One proof point at a time. Chapter 6. Create rituals that honor difficulty. You need structure around your difficult actions, or they won't happen consistently. Right now, whether you do hard things is determined by how you feel, what else is going on, and whether you remember. This randomness guarantees inconsistency. But when you create rituals, specific, repeatable sequences that you perform at the same time under the same conditions, you remove the variables that cause failure. You make doing hard things automatic. A ritual is different from a routine. A routine is just a sequence of actions. A ritual is a sequence imbued with meaning and intention. When you approach your difficult actions as rituals, you elevate them. They become sacred commitments rather than just items on a to-do list. They become non-negotiable parts of your identity rather than things you do when convenient. The power of rituals is that they remove decision-making from the equation. You don't decide whether to do your morning workout. Your morning ritual includes your workout. You don't decide whether to work on your important project. Your evening ritual includes project time. The ritual happens because it's the ritual. The individual components aren't up for debate. Start by designing a morning ritual that includes at least one difficult action. This sets the tone for your entire day. Maybe your ritual is wake at 5:30 a.m., cold shower, 20-minute workout, healthy breakfast, 30 minutes of focused work on your most important goal. The specific components matter less than the fact that you do them in the same order at the same time every single day. The ritual starts the night before. You prepare everything you need. Workout clothes laid out. Water bottle ready. Project materials accessible. When your alarm goes off, you don't think. You execute the ritual. The decision was made when you designed the ritual. In the moment, you're just following the script. This removes the emotional friction that normally stops you. You're not asking yourself, do I feel like working out? You're not negotiating with yourself about whether today is a good day for it. You're just executing the ritual. And rituals, by definition, happen regardless of feelings. That's what makes them rituals. You also need an evening ritual that bookends your day. This might include: review your day plan tomorrow. Put away all devices by 9 p.m. Read for 30 minutes. In bed by 10 p.m. This ritual ensures you get the rest you need to execute tomorrow's morning ritual. The rituals support each other. They create a structure that makes doing hard things sustainable. Between your morning and evening rituals, you can have work rituals. When you sit down for focused work, you perform the same sequence every time. Maybe clear your desk, put phone in another room, put on specific music or noise-canceling headphones, set a timer, open your work file, start immediately. This ritual signals to your brain that it's time for deep work. It bypasses the resistance you normally feel. The key is that these rituals become so ingrained that you feel wrong when you don't do them, like brushing your teeth. You don't negotiate about whether to brush your teeth. You just do it because not doing it feels wrong. That's the level of automaticity you're building with your difficulty rituals. Within your rituals, include one element that's intentionally difficult, something that requires you to override comfort. This could be the cold shower, or the extra set of push-ups to failure, or the first 30 minutes of work on your hardest project. This difficult element is what makes the ritual powerful. It's your daily proof that you can do hard things. It's your vote for your identity. It's your offering to the universe that says, I'm serious. Track your ritual consistency. Keep a calendar where you mark each day you complete your full ritual. Don't mark days where you did most of it or some of it. Only mark days where you did the complete ritual with full integrity. This binary tracking, you either did it or you didn't, creates clarity. There's no room for negotiation or half measures. Protect your rituals from interruptions. They're not flexible. They're not negotiable. If someone wants to schedule something during your morning ritual time, the answer is no. If an emergency comes up, you handle it. But then you complete the ritual afterward. The ritual is sacred. Life needs to see that you treat it as sacred. That's part of what earns respect. You'll also find that your rituals become a form of meditation. When you're performing a ritual you've done hundreds of times, your mind can relax into it. The repetition becomes soothing rather than boring. You're not expending mental energy deciding what to do. You're just being present with the doing. This presence is where you find a peace that comes from discipline. Over time, your rituals define your life. Your morning ritual determines what kind of day you have. Your work ritual determines what you accomplish. Your evening ritual determines how you recover and prepare. The rituals become the architecture of a life that deserves respect because they're built on the foundation of doing difficult things consistently. Create your rituals today. Start with just a morning ritual. Write it down. Make it specific. Include at least one difficult element. Then execute it tomorrow and the day after and every day for the next 30 days. Let the ritual become who you are. Let it become the proof that you're someone who does hard things. Watch how life starts to respect the person who shows up for their rituals without exception. Chapter 7. The hard thing must be done first. You're sabotaging yourself by doing easy things first. You wake up and check your phone. You respond to messages. You scroll social media. You ease into your day with comfort and distraction. By the time you get to your hard thing, the workout, the important project, the difficult work, your willpower is depleted. Your mental energy is scattered. Your motivation is gone. And you wonder why you can't be consistent with what matters. The order of operations determines your success. If you do easy things first, hard things never get done. Or they get done poorly because you're trying to squeeze them in at the end of the day when you're exhausted. But if you do hard things first, everything else flows easier. You've already won the day. Everything after is just bonus. There's a principle called eat the frog. It means you do the hardest, most important thing first thing in the morning, before anything else, before email, before phone calls, before small tasks, before your brain has time to wake up and start negotiating. You eat the frog while you still have the willpower to do it. This works because your willpower and decision-making capacity are highest in the morning. You haven't depleted them yet with 1,000 small decisions. You haven't been worn down by the day's challenges. You're fresh. You're focused. This is when you have the most power to do difficult things. So this is when you must do them. If your hard thing is exercise, it happens first, before you check your phone, before you even fully wake up in some cases. You put on your workout clothes that you laid out the night before. You start moving. By the time your brain realizes what's happening and tries to negotiate, you're already 10 minutes in and committed. If your hard thing is important creative work or building your business, it happens first, before you check email, before you respond to anyone, before you allow the world agenda to hijack your attention. You sit down and work on your most important project for at least 1 hour. The world can wait. Your hard thing cannot. This first thing principle also protects you from the excuse trap. Later in the day, there are infinite excuses available. Something came up. You're too tired. You'll do it tomorrow. But first thing in the morning, there are no excuses yet. The day is fresh. Nothing has happened to justify not doing it. You either do it or you consciously choose not to, and that choice is much harder to make at 6 a.m. than at 6 p.m. You also need to understand the psychological impact of doing your hard thing first. When you complete something difficult before most people are even awake, you feel powerful. You feel like you've already won. This feeling compounds throughout the day. You make better decisions. You're more productive. You handle challenges better because you started from a position of strength. But when you procrastinate on your hard thing, the opposite happens. It hangs over you all day. I still need to work out. I still need to work on my project. This creates background anxiety that drains your energy even when you're doing other things. And when you finally try to do it at the end of the day, you're fighting both physical tiredness and the psychological weight of having avoided it all day. The hard thing first principle also protects your hard thing from the unpredictability of life. Life will throw things at you throughout the day. Emergencies, opportunities, distractions. If your hard thing is scheduled for later, these interruptions can derail it. But if you do it first before the world wakes up, before the chaos starts, it's protected. It's already done. Life can throw whatever it wants at you after that. Make this non-negotiable. Your first waking hour is sacred. It belongs to you and your hard thing, not to anyone else's agenda. You don't check messages. You don't see what's happening in the world. You don't engage with anything external. You execute your hard thing first. Only after it's complete do you allow the world in. You'll face resistance to this. Your brain will try to convince you that you need to check just one thing first, that you should respond to that urgent message, that you can do your hard thing later today when you're more awake. Recognize these thoughts as resistance trying to maintain control. Don't engage with them. Just execute. This might mean waking up earlier. If your day currently starts with chaos, you need to start before the chaos. If you currently wake at 7 a.m. and immediately start responding to the world, you need to wake at 5:30 or 6 a.m. and have 90 minutes for your hard thing before the day officially begins. This earlier wake-up is itself a hard thing, which makes it perfect practice. You can also chain your hard things. If you have multiple difficult actions you need to do daily, do them all first. Morning workout, cold shower, focus work on important project, healthy breakfast. Bang them out in sequence before you allow any easy or reactive tasks into your day. By 8 or 9 a.m., you've done more that matters than most people do all day. The first thing principle trains you be someone who front loads difficulty instead of backloading it, who tackles challenges early instead of avoiding them until they become crises, who operates from a place of discipline instead of a place of reaction. This shift in your operational pattern is visible to life, and life respects it. Think about the person who exercises first thing in the morning every day versus the person who says they'll exercise later every day. After a year, they're living in completely different bodies. Not because the exercise itself is different, but because first thing exercise happens consistently while later exercise happens occasionally. The position in the day determines the consistency, and consistency determines results. The same applies to your most important work. The person who works on their business slash project slash craft first thing every morning versus the person who will get to it when they have time later. After a year, one has built something substantial. The other is still talking about starting. The position in the day determines whether it happens. And whether it happens determines whether life respects you. Do your hard thing first, before anything else, before anyone else, before your brain can negotiate, before the world can interfere, before excuses can accumulate. First, every single day. Watch how this simple positioning transforms your consistency. Watch how your results compound. Watch how life starts to respect someone who wins their day before it officially begins. Chapter 8. Build progressive difficulty into your life. You can't do the same hard thing forever and expect to keep growing. Eventually, what was once difficult becomes comfortable, and comfort is where growth stops. If you want life to continue respecting you, you need to progressively increase the difficulty of what you do. You need to keep pushing your edges. You need to keep expanding what you're capable of. This is a principle of progressive overload from strength training applied to your entire life. In the gym, if you lift the same weight forever, you stop getting stronger. You have to gradually add weight, or reps, or sets. You have to continuously challenge your current capacity. Only then does capacity increase. The same principle applies to discipline, to skill development, to character building. If you've been doing 20 push-ups every morning for 6 months, it's time to do 30. Or do 20 with a weight vest. Or do different variations. The point is not to make it harder for the sake of suffering. The point is to keep challenging your edge so that your edge keeps moving forward, so that you keep becoming more capable. This progressive difficulty needs to happen across all domains. If you've been waking at 6 a.m. consistently, try 5:30 a.m. If you've been doing 30-minute workouts, try 45-minute workouts. If you've been working on your project for 1 hour daily, try 2 hours. If you've been having difficult conversations when necessary, start initiating them proactively. Always be looking for the next level of difficulty. The progression needs to be gradual enough that you can maintain it, but significant enough that it challenges you. Too small, and you're not actually progressing. Too large, and you risk burnout or failure that damages your confidence. The sweet spot is about 10% harder than what you're currently doing. That's enough to feel challenging, but not so much that it's overwhelming. You also need to add new categories of difficulty. Maybe you've mastered early mornings and exercise. Now add financial discipline, or learning a new skill, or building a side project, or improving your relationships through vulnerable communication. Don't just get better at one hard thing. Get better at doing multiple hard things simultaneously. Life respects people with broad-based discipline. This progressive approach prevents plateaus. Plateaus happen when your current effort level becomes your comfort zone. You're still doing the things, but they're not challenging you anymore. They're maintenance activities. And maintenance doesn't earn increasing respect from life. Only growth does. Only pushing into new territory does. You'll know it's time to increase difficulty when your hard thing starts to feel routine, when you're going through the motions without much mental or physical strain, when you can do it while barely paying attention. That's your signal. Time to level up. Time to make it harder. Time to find your new edge and push against it. Keep a log of your difficulty progressions. Write down what your hard things were 6 months ago versus what they are now. This gives you evidence of growth. It shows you that you're becoming more capable, that you're not static, that you're continually pushing your boundaries. This evidence is motivating. It shows you that the process works. Progressive difficulty also keeps you humble. The moment you think you've arrived, the moment you think you've mastered discipline, life will remind you that there's always another level, always something harder you could be doing, always a new edge to push. This recognition that growth is infinite keeps you from becoming complacent. It also prevents the ego trap. Some people get good at one hard thing and then coast on that accomplishment for years. They did the hard thing 5 years ago and they're still talking about it. But life doesn't respect past difficulty. Life respects current difficulty. What hard thing are you doing today? What edge are you pushing now? If the answer is the same thing I was doing 2 years ago, you've stopped earning respect. The progressive approach also makes you anti-fragile. Each time you successfully handle a new level of difficulty, you prove to yourself that you can adapt, that you can rise to meet challenges, that you're not fragile and limited. You're capable of handling more and becoming more. This builds a deep confidence that no affirmation could ever create. Create a difficulty roadmap. Where are you now with your hard things? Where could you be in 3 months if you progressively increased? In 6 months? In a year? Map out the progression. Make it visible. Then work the plan. Each month, level up at least one area. Keep pushing. Keep growing. Keep earning life's respect through continuously demonstrated capability. You'll also find that as you progress, your identity shifts. You go from, I'm someone who works out, to, I'm someone who pushes their physical limits. From, I'm someone who shows up early, to, I'm someone who maximizes every hour of the day. From, I'm someone who does hard things, to, I'm someone who seeks harder things. This identity evolution is the real transformation. Progressive difficulty is what separates people who have a disciplined phase from people who have a disciplined life. Anyone can do hard things for a month, but can you do them for a year, and then make them harder, and then add new ones, and then keep going? That's the level where life really pays attention. That's the level where respect becomes permanent rather than temporary. Start planning your next progression today. Pick one area where you've been consistent. Decide how you'll make it 10% harder next month. Put it on your calendar. When the time comes, level up, then do it again the next month. And the month after that. Keep pushing your edges. Keep expanding your capacity. Keep earning life's respect through demonstrated growth. Chapter 9. Suffer now so you don't suffer later. The suffering is coming either way. You don't get to choose whether you'll experience difficulty in life. You only get to choose what kind of difficulty and when. You can choose the difficulty of discipline now, or you'll get the difficulty of regret later. You can choose the difficulty of doing hard things daily, or you'll get the difficulty of living with the consequences of not doing them. Choose your suffering wisely. The suffering of discipline is temporary and productive. It hurts in the moment, but it builds capability. It's uncomfortable today, but it creates ease tomorrow. The suffering of regret is permanent and destructive. It hurts forever and it builds nothing. It's comfortable today, but it creates hardship that compounds over years. Think about the suffering of getting in shape versus the suffering of being out of shape. Getting in shape is hard. The workouts hurt. The dietary discipline is uncomfortable. You have to wake up early. You have to choose a hard option repeatedly. But this suffering is temporary. After 6 months or a year, you're in shape. The suffering transforms into pride and capability. Being out of shape is also suffering. Your body hurts. You're tired. You can't do things you want to do. You're self-conscious. Your health deteriorates. But this suffering doesn't end. It just gets worse over time. It compounds. And it builds nothing positive. It's just pure loss. The same pattern applies everywhere. The suffering of building financial discipline versus the suffering of being broke. The suffering of having difficult conversations versus the suffering of resentment and broken relationships. The suffering of learning hard skills versus the suffering of being replaceable in the job market. The suffering of building something versus the suffering of wasted potential. In every case, the suffering of discipline is front-loaded, temporary, and productive. The suffering of lack of discipline is delayed, permanent, and destructive. But most people choose the second because it's comfortable right now. They're optimizing for present comfort at the expense of future peace. You need to flip this calculation. Optimize for future peace by accepting present difficulty. Choose to suffer now in ways you control so that you don't have to suffer later in ways you can't control. This is strategic suffering. This is intentional difficulty. This is you taking control of the inevitable hardship of life and directing it toward growth instead of decay. The people life respects have made this choice consciously. They've looked at the 2 types of suffering and chosen discipline. They wake up early even though it's hard because they know the alternative is waking up years later having wasted their potential, and that's harder. They do the workout even though it's uncomfortable because they know the alternative is a body that limits their life, and that's more uncomfortable. You also need to understand that the suffering of discipline gets easier over time, while the suffering of regret gets harder. When you first start doing hard things, it's brutal. Everything hurts. Everything is a fight. But as you build the discipline muscle, it gets easier. The hard things become normal. The suffering decreases even as the difficulty increases. But regret works in the opposite direction. At first, it's just a whisper. I should have done that. I wish I had started earlier. But over time, that whisper becomes a scream. Years of accumulated should-haves become a crushing weight. The suffering of regret increases exponentially with time. It never gets easier. It only gets heavier. This is why old people either seem deeply satisfied or deeply regretful. The satisfied ones chose discipline decades ago. They suffered through the hard work of building something meaningful. Now they get to enjoy the peace that comes from a life well lived. The regretful ones chose comfort decades ago. They avoided the hard work. Now they suffer the permanent pain of knowing they wasted their chance. You're choosing which old person you'll be right now, today, through the daily choice of discipline or comfort. And that choice will compound over decades until it becomes your life story. Do you want your story to be, I did the hard things and built something beautiful, or I avoided the hard things and wish I hadn't? Make peace with the fact that suffering is non-negotiable. It's coming. The question is just what form it takes and what it produces. Choose the suffering that builds. Choose the suffering that's temporary. Choose the suffering you control. Choose to do the hard thing now, today, while you still can. There's also a dignity in chosen suffering that doesn't exist in forced suffering. When you choose to do the hard thing, you're operating from power. You're in control. You're demonstrating agency. But when you avoid the hard thing and suffer the consequences later, you're a victim. You're powerless. You're at the mercy of circumstances you created through avoidance. Life respects the person who chooses their suffering, who looks at the difficulty ahead and says, I'll take that challenge now instead of that consequence later, who understands that pain is inevitable but misery is optional, who suffers through discipline while building instead of suffering through regret while decaying. Start reframing every hard thing as a choice between two types of suffering. When you don't want to work out, remember, you'll either suffer the 45 minutes of exercise or the decades of a failing body. When you don't want to work on your project, remember, you'll either suffer the hours of focused work or the years of unfulfilled potential. When you don't want to have the difficult conversation, remember, you'll either suffer the 30 minutes of awkwardness or the death of the relationship. Make the choice explicit. Write it down if you need to. I can suffer now through discipline or later through regret. I choose now. This conscious choosing is what transforms suffering from something that happens to you into something you direct, into a tool you use to build rather than a force that destroys. The suffering is coming. Choose it now. Choose it productively. Choose it in a way that builds the life you want instead of destroying the life you have. This choice, made daily, made consciously, made without hesitation, is what makes life respect you. Because life knows that people who choose their suffering are people who understand how life actually works. Life is watching your daily choices. You've just been given a complete blueprint for earning life's respect through doing hard things daily. And now you need to understand something crucial. Life is watching. Every day, every choice, every moment where you choose between hard and easy, life is taking note. And life is adjusting what it gives you based on what you prove you can handle. Everything I've shown you works. The equation of hard choices creating easy life. The discipline of doing things regardless of feelings. The compound effect of daily difficulty. The reframing of discomfort as information. The building of identity through action. The rituals that honor difficulty. The principle of doing hard things first. The progressive increase of challenge. The strategic choice of productive suffering now over destructive suffering later. But none of it matters if you don't apply it. If you watched this video, felt inspired for 20 minutes, and then went back to choosing comfort over challenge. If you intellectually agree with everything I said, but don't change your daily behavior. Because life doesn't respect understanding. Life respects demonstration. Life respects proof. The proof is in what you do today, and tomorrow, and every day for the next year. That's what life is watching, not your intentions. Not your plans, not your wishes, your actions, your daily choices. Your consistent demonstration of whether you're serious or just another person who consumes content but never changes. Here's what I want you to do in the next 24 hours. Pick one hard thing that you've been avoiding. One thing that would significantly improve your life if you did it daily. Maybe it's the workout you keep postponing. Maybe it's the difficult project you keep delaying. Maybe it's the hard conversation you keep avoiding. Maybe it's the financial discipline you keep breaking. Pick that one thing. Then do it tomorrow morning. First thing, before anything else. Before your brain can negotiate. Before the day can interfere. Before excuses can accumulate. Just do it. And then do it again the day after. And the day after that. For 30 consecutive days. No exceptions. No negotiations. No, I'll make up tomorrow. Track it. Put an X on a calendar every day you do it. This visual chain of excess is your proof to yourself and to life that you're serious. That you're not just talking. That you're someone who follows through. That you deserve to be taken seriously. After 30 days, you'll have built momentum. You'll have evidence. You'll have started to shift your identity. Then pick a second hard thing and add it. Keep stacking. Keep building. Keep proving to life through daily action that you're someone who does hard things. Keep earning the respect that comes from consistent demonstration of capability. Now, if this video has shown you why you're not getting the results you want, if it's revealed that life doesn't respect you yet because you haven't done the work to earn that respect, if it's given you the framework for changing that through daily hard actions, then I need you to make commitment right now. Subscribe to this channel. But understand what you're doing when you click that button. You're not subscribing to feel good or to collect information. You're subscribing because you're making a decision about who you're going to become. You're declaring that you're done with comfortable mediocrity, that you're ready to do the hard things that earn life's respect, that you understand respect isn't given. It's earned through daily proof. This channel exists for people who are serious about transformation through difficulty. People who understand that life rewards demonstrated capability, not stated intention. People who are willing to do hard things when they don't feel like it because they know that's where all growth happens. Every video here is designed to challenge you, to push you, to remind you that comfort is the enemy of the life you actually want. Most people won't subscribe. They'll watch this video, feel temporarily motivated, and then go right back to choosing easy over hard. They'll keep avoiding difficult things and wondering why life doesn't respect them. They'll keep talking about change while demonstrating through their daily choices that they're not actually willing to pay the price for it. They'll stay exactly where they are. Don't be like most people. You didn't watch this far because you want to stay comfortable. You watched this far because you know something needs a change. That your current path of least resistance is leading nowhere meaningful. That life will never respect you until you prove through daily difficulty that you deserve respect. When you subscribe, turn on notifications, not so you can passively watch more videos, but so you get reminded when you need it most, when you're about to skip your hard thing, when you're about to choose comfort over challenge, when you're about to prove to life that you're not serious. Let each video be a reminder of the person you're becoming through difficulty, of the respect you're earning through daily proof. The subscribe button is right there. And right now, you might be hesitating. You might be thinking, I'll do it later, or let me see a few more videos first. Notice that hesitation. That's the same pattern that keeps you from doing hard things. That's the comfortable delay that prevents change. Override it right now. Subscribe as your first act of doing the hard thing immediately instead of choosing comfortable delay. I'll see you in the next video. And when I do, I want you to be able to tell yourself that you've been doing the work, that you've been choosing hard over easy, that you've been stacking difficult actions daily, that you've been proving to life through your behavior, that you're someone who deserves respect. Because that's what people who subscribe to this channel do. They don't just watch. They apply. They act. They prove you are capable of doing hard things daily. You are capable of earning life's respect through consistent demonstration of discipline. You are capable of building the kind of life that only comes to people who do what others won't. But capability without action is just potential. And potential without daily proof is just another broken promise to yourself. So take action now. Subscribe as your declaration. Do your hard thing tomorrow morning as your proof. Keep stacking difficult actions as your pathway. Watch as life starts to notice. Watch as opportunities start appearing. Watch as respect starts being given, not because you wished for it, but because you earned it through the daily choice to do hard things when easy things were available. Life is watching your daily choices. Make sure what it sees is someone who chooses hard over easy, someone who honors commitments to themselves, someone who doesn't negotiate with discipline, someone who understands that respect is earned through difficulty. Be that person starting right now. Close this video. Subscribe. Plan tomorrow's hard thing. Then execute it without negotiation. The life you want is waiting on the other side of a difficulty you've been avoiding. The respect you crave is waiting on the other side of the hard things you've been postponing. The person you want to become is waiting on the other side of the daily discipline you've been talking about but not demonstrating. Stop waiting. Stop planning. Stop consuming content about change while never actually changing. Start doing. Start proving. Start earning the respect that comes from doing hard things daily until life has no choice but to take you seriously. Your moment is now. Your choice is clear. Your path is hard. Walk it anyway. Life is watching. Make it respect what it sees.